Hi everybody, this is chapter 25 and I'm really excited. Chapter 25 I will do in a couple of readings or episodes because it's a very long chapter. But I'm really excited, it's really getting mysterious. I couldn't wait last night, so I read the half of the chapter before I fell asleep. Well, I hope you're as excited as I am. Please let me know if you are enjoying the chapters. Chapter 25. Like all perfect moments, this one is reunion ruined, by other people. The kids who were eating chips outside Daisy's, that's the chip shops, started wolf whistling at us. Roo wraps his arms around me and turns his face to them. I bury my face in his neck, planting kisses on his warm skin. There, thrilled that I finally have the permission to do so. Piss off, he shouts. Come on, I say. They are going to start throwing chips at us. The shouts get closer, though they were a bender, Rory. Thought you were on a bender, Rory. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes the English does get difficult for me. He rolls his eyes. Yet, let's get out of here. All roads inevitably lead to the underpass. Roo holds my hand, periodically bringing the back of my hand to his lips. They've fallen in love, I think. We have a gig on Saturday at the Cypress. You should come. Will I need an ID? I once used Nia's oldest sister's student ID to go to a gig of a boy Nia liked. He helped Ed Sheeran, that's an Irish name, or Sheeran as the Americans might call it, and George Ezra covers in a pub. Almost entirely, frequently, by accounts on their Christmas party. And it was the most boring night of my life. I bite my lip. The door to Nia's sister's ID is definitely closed now, and there's no chance of me getting away with Jones. No, it's an all-age thing. It's like a cabaret night. They are using it to fundraise for the LGBTQ. So this is quite modern. It's like the Pride Society, LGBT, okay? And I don't know what the Q stands for. Homelessness charity. That's so cool. I think so too. Yeah, it was booked in months ago. But with Lily and everything, I completely forgot. Miel messaged me yesterday, asking if I still wanted to do it. And do you? Honestly, I would give my right leg to do it under normal circumstances, but with all this drama at home, I would give 2 legs. I just need something to take my mind off it. I nodded and he smiles at me, although I have someone right here who's pretty good at that. Oh, do you? I kiss him, feeling ridiculously brazen about my new access to him. I press his back against the wall outside the underpass, curling my fingers around his hair. We stay like that for minutes, feeling the evening temperature drop to freezing, the cold bracing against our hands and faces, but warm with our bodies are fixed, glued together. I'll walk you back, I say. You don't have to. No, I want to. You are always walking me back. It's fine, he says, kissing me on the forehead again. I look at him squarely, and there's a flicker of anxiety in his smile. You should get home. You don't want your parents to see me, do you? What? No, it's not that. I look at him skeptically, my eyebrows raised. Okay. Um, it it kind of is that? Do they blame me? Of course they don't blame you, Maeve, but they are not exactly fans of yours. Right. Why should they be? I'm the cow that ruined their daughter's life. Don't be like that. Rue, it's true. I untangle myself from him, feeling sick. I am sick, gross or perverted, a parasite who latches on to others that abandon and then abandon them once I'm full. I took everything I could from Lily and now I'm taking it from Rue. I turn away from him and stare at the river. The water silent and black in the darkness. How low self-opinion has she got of her? Well, I hope that will change. A lot of things have changed since she got to know Rue. We leave each other awkwardly. He tries to kiss me again, but I can't get lost in the moment. All I can imagine is how we look from the outside, how slutty and stupid, how uncaring and thoughtlessness. It's been weeks and Lily is still missing. What have we done about it? What am I doing about it? He gathers me in a hug, sweeping my long woolly hair into his hands. Maeve, he says, life is so shite like lately. Can't we just enjoy the good things while we can? Making yourself miserable isn't going to bring her back. I smile weakly. I know I just... the more we find out about the housekeeper thing, the more convinced I am that if it weren't for me, she would still be here. And if I were a better brother, maybe she wouldn't have felt so alone. We can maybe think, this is where I find things are weird in the writing sometimes. We can maybe, and then pause, things until the cows come home, and it doesn't just sit right with me. Okay, I would say we can maybe do something else or change things to the best of our ability. I shrug. He sweeps his thumb across the cheek. Go home and get some dinner in you and stop torturing yourself. I take the long way, missing the split in the path where I usually turn right to go home. I keep left, taking a detour along the river bank. It's strange how important this place has become to me in the last few weeks. This place that was once just a walk home, and before that just a school project. I skim stones and throw branches to watch them sink. Green scum swirls, Coke cans floating, cigarette butts gathering in an abandoned coot's nest. I wrap my arms around myself and I think of my kisses. My first important kiss. My first kiss with someone who matters, who makes my heart race and my blood warm. The first person to make me understand the attraction. It isn't a puzzle or an equation or a working out who the best looking people are and working backwards from here. It's not maths, it's magic, and I want to tell her. I think that should be, oh yes, she wants to tell Lily. I want to tell her that her brother has become the most incredible person I've ever met. That I'm falling so badly, so terribly in love with him, and the only person I want to tell is the person I may never see again. What would I even say to her? Would she be kind of friend who would stick her fingers in her eyes and do the whole gross my brother thing? No, not Lily. Lily is a lot of things, but she's predictable. She's not boring. She wouldn't act like a person of an American sitcom. I close my eyes and remember her. I imagine she's still here, and that's where we are still friends, and that the last year didn't happen. And just like that, I see her. Her long hank of dirty blonde hair. Her eyes that are too wide, almost alienish, like an alien. I imagine telling her while she's drawing the quintessent quintessential Lily purpose. You, that's a big mouthful, would talk and talk to her, and she would draw and draw, and you would almost think she wasn't listening, but then she would look up and ask question, and you would realize she was paying perfect attention the entire time. The thing is, Lil, I can't even tell whether we are both just older now and more mature, or if I have become different and he was brilliant the whole time. But the thing is, I strongly suspect he was brilliant the whole time, and I was too up my own hole to even realize. She says, scribbling with an graphite pencil. And I know it's weird for you. I know you don't want to hear this about your brother. I rail, spinning around her room. But she's imagining all this. But if you had a crush on one of my siblings, I would be cool about it. You don't, do you? No. Well, good, because they are all so old. It's a second one. Huh? He's been brilliant the whole time. You have been too, but you were so afraid of anyone who was being themselves that you were afraid of seeing it. Once you gave up on being the same as everyone, you were able to see the advantages of being different. Shut up. What are you drawing? A duck. She was drawing a duck, obviously, because Maeve asked her what she was drawing. Show me. And she would show me the duck. That is Lily. She is sort of imagining or going back in thought what she would say to Millie if she was still around or coming back. She's asking herself, would she be changed? Is she too mature? Or has they both changed? Would she accept her as a friend, etc., etc.? And she would show me the duck. But the duck, importantly, would have one thing wrong with it: a mechanical beak, or a turnkey on its back, half a robot duck. I open my eyes, and it's just the river again, filthy and strange and always, always there. Come back, I whisper. Please, 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 come back. That night I dreamt about the housekeeper again, but she's not at the underpass this time. She's at a different point, in the city where the river is narrower. A shopping trolley has been tipped over, sunlight glitting off its metal body. It is spring. The housekeeper's hair covers her face, and she is standing on the other side of the riverbank, pointing at something. I follow her finger. Halfway between us, floating in the river, there is a shoe, a black suede ballet flat, to be precise, turned greenish by the water, but it's not sinking. Like the shopping trolley, it's floating, coasting along like a tiny stylish boat. The familiar feeling of river water in my guts rised again. When something like this happens, she either passes out or gets sick. So here we go again, I think. I wake up, sure I'm going to vomit. I breathe heavily, trying to control the hot surge of spit that is pulling around my jaw. I breathe and swallow, breathe and swallow. I go back to sleep, but wake up again just after 5 a.m. The air is so cold that I have to get another thick fleece blanket from the hot press. That's the airing cupboard. I check my phone briefly as I get back into bed. There is a message from Rue in highlighted writing. I had a dream about the housekeeper. She has Lily's shoe. The message was sent at 4:55. Only 5 minutes ago. Ooh. Again highlighted in block letters. I had the same dream. Was the shoe floating? Yes, is the answer. What do you think it means? Bubbles appear and Rue is typing for a long time. Then they disappear again, but the time my phone buzzes with response. I'm expecting an essay. Highlighted again, I think it means Lily is alive. The next day Fiona comes into school triumphant, a piece of notepaper wedged inside her homework journal. She grabs me just before registration starts. Toilets, she says, now! We sit huddled together on an exposed pipe that almost burns our legs. Remember, it's winter. Fiona opens her journal. My mum managed to remember the full first verse. That's amazing! Sure, but I also had to hear about how she met Neil Young in 1994. For those that don't know Neil Young, he was a pop star. A worthy sacrifice. Thank you. We pore over the page together. Now in another type of writing, slanted writing, they've got the words of the song. She appears in rare readings / and only young women, and only in times of crisis / new truths shoveled into focus. I dealt her from the deck / 2 times that same week. A woman with blood on her wedding gown / and a knife between her teeth. Ladies, meet the housekeeper card. Now she can be your downfall or she can be your start. And she only wants the best for you, like she never got for herself. She sees you at the bottom and she's coming down to help. Oh my God, and did she say anything else about it? She said she learned it off a band they were opening for that band were opening for, and the band were like an Irish-American country rock band. What does that mean? I think it means that they did sped up covers of the Fields of Athenry. It must be a place in Ireland. Of course, but that made me think about what Aunt Sylvia said about every culture having its own white lady. Maybe the housekeeper is an Irish form of that, like an Irish folklore thing. Yeah, think about it. Irish people immigrate with this story about a deadly witch demon. Country musicians turn it into a song about tarot cards. Someone makes the tarot cards. The cards make their way back to Ireland and to you in the cookie. It is the quote, a certain mother who loves to repeat herself. All part of the cultural change. You know you are very hard on your mum, considering she's objectively the coolest mother I've ever met. Fiona cocks an eyebrow. You know you are very hard on Joanne, considering she's the coolest sister in the world. I take your point. Thank you. We hear people shoveling into their seats, and the sound of Miss Harris's voice. We get off the pipe and dash into the classroom. The lyrics wedged firmly between Fiona's journal, she nods and waits for us to take our seats. Before she starts talking, "Girls, I'm sure it won't have escaped your notice that the weather has been bizarre lately." She might even talk in an Irish voice like this. "Girls, I'm sure it won't have escaped your notice that the weather has been bizarre lately." She pursed her lips as 30 girls leaned forward in silent desperation and desperate attention. "We've heard this morning that there is a forecast to be black ice on the roads by this afternoon, and many of the bus routes will be closed." That's my Irish accent. "In the interest of your safety and your transport." You could hear the mouse fart in this room. It's so quiet. All schools have been instructed to close. The class descends into giddy chaos. Books are flung into bags and hyper laughter envelops us. Fiona throws her arms around me in victory. A day off, yeah! A day off on the flipping Wednesday. She does her little victory dance. And tomorrow too. Maybe if it keeps up, if the black ice lasts, we won't be able to get into school. Not to mind out of it. People are texting their boyfriends at St. Anthony's, trying to arrange a meeting, but I hear the girls arguing which boy about whose house they are going to, and whose parents get home from work the latest. The red flush climbs into my face as I listen and suddenly remember I now have someone to meet up with. I have a boyfriend, or I think I have a boyfriend. We didn't actually discuss. Fiona nudges and lets me see what Rue's up to. We can show him the housekeeper lyrics. She sees my red face and her eyes go wide. Oh my God, did something finally happen? It did! Holy crap, what a day! Tell me everything. I tell her everything, and half an hour later we are still sitting in Bridie's drinking milk tea and eating 2 sour apple tarts. I feel weird to be eating apple tart at 10 a.m. Weirder still to be sitting opposite the boy whose tongue was in my mouth 12 hours previously, and who also happens to be having the same dream as me. She's alive, Rory says flatly. I know she is. It's the way the shoe was pointing, the way it was just sailing down the river. It was like it knew where it was going. Lily's alive. Not that I don't believe in the inherent value of dreams, Fiona says politely, but what are we supposed to do now? We've got the dreams, we've got the song, Rue says practically. I feel like we need someone who can. I don't know, I interrupt them. Sylvia's out, Fiona grumbles. I got a big lecture over dinner last night about how I put too much pressure on her and how it's not good to turn to the occult when you are feeling desperate. Sylvia says it makes people do crazy things. People or me? Rue asks. You, I suppose. Everyone wants to be protective of the little boy with the missing sister, he says, rolling his eyes. I'm not even allowed to mention the river to my mum. Wow.